Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Judging Freedom. Today is Monday, September 18th, 2023. We are waiting for Ray McGovern to join us, and when he does, we'll talk about the propaganda war involving Ukraine, both ends of it, what President Zelensky is saying on his end and what the American media is saying on this end. But first, this message. Hi, everyone. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for Lear Capital. You all know that I am a paid spokesperson for Lear Capital because it's the right thing to do, because the government is regulating too much and printing too much money and reducing the value of everything you earn and everything you own. And the best hedge against this is gold and silver. That's what I've done. I know the folks at Lear. I trust the folks at Lear. I've worked with the folks at Lear, and I use their advice when it comes to my investing in gold and silver. You should do the same. Call them at 800-511-4620 or go to learjudgesnap.com. You'll have a very nice conversation with a very knowledgeable person who'll send you literature to read, which you can review with your spouse and your financial advisor, and then you can call them back and decide what you want to do. Why Lear? Lear has 25 years experience and thousands of five-star reviews and a 24-hour risk-free guarantee. And when you have this conversation with the Lear representative, you'll find out if you can qualify for a $15,000 gold bonus. So call Lear now, 800-511-4620 or learjudgenap.com. All right, we're still waiting for Ray to join us. Every once in a while, there's a little bit of a technical difficulty, and when that happens, sometimes we delay the show, but there's so many of you lined up and waiting for Ray. Here it's a little after 10 in the morning on the East Coast of the United States that I thought I would start speaking with you. When Ray joins, he'll pop in. So a couple of things have moved me on the Ukraine front. One is the sort of united front that we see in the American media in support of Ukraine, including my colleagues and including my friends and former colleagues and former bosses at Fox News. Fox, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the major networks are all in support of what the government is doing. We all know why that happens, because the media is corrupt, but lowercase c. I mean, a soft corruption. They're not being bought out, but they're being teased out. The intelligence community regularly gives the media tidbits of information that the media thinks it's getting as an exclusive, and they print it and, of course, or run with it. And, of course, it's the government version of things. The flip side of this, of course, is President Zelensky and his efforts, to sell the war in the West. And thus far, he's done a very effective job of doing it. I think the West is getting tired of this, and I think enough Republicans in the House of Representatives may do their best to block additional aid. But of course, we have the war party in Congress. And it's about 90% of Republicans and 90% of Democrats. In this, Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker of the House, and Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate, are in lockstep. Give Joe Biden all the money he wants, let him spend it however he wants in Ukraine. Why do I say that? Well, the previous Congress, when Mrs. Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, gave Joe Biden $113 billion blank check. He spent about $100 billion of it. He now wants $28 billion more. And President Zelensky will be here this week. He'll be addressing the United Nations, and then he'll go down to Washington. I don't know if he's going to speak to the Congress. If that's the case, it hasn't been scheduled yet. But he's certainly going to lobby members of Congress. There are progressives on the left in the Democratic Party and some conservatives and libertarians on the right in the Republican Party in the House that are opposed to any further aid to Ukraine. But as I said, the war party, which is 90% of both houses, Republicans and Democrats, will come through because they like fighting wars. It enriches the military industrial complex. It lets them wave the American flag. They can look at people like me and say, you're unpatriotic. I think we, those of us who oppose war, are the most patriotic people on the planet because we're interested in saving lives and not in wasting money. I was also moved by some of the things President Zelensky said over the weekend. We're going to run some clips for you now of what he said to Scott Pelley. Scott Pelley of CBS News said to him point blank, is there any part of Ukraine that you would give up for peace? And you'll hear President Zelensky's answer. He even said there will be no peace until Crimea is returned. Well, Crimea has been on again, off again, a part of Russia since 1730. It has been legally a part of Russia since 2014. And the Ukrainians have been bombing it. So they've been bombing their own people in territory that they say is part of Ukraine. President Zelensky, of course, has an entirely different view of this. The clip that we're going to run now that starts with Scott Pelley asking the question, is there any part of Ukraine you would give up, gets very emotional at parts. Here we go.
Can you give up any part of Ukraine for peace? No, this is our territory. You must have it all, including Crimea. Today, you said it to me. You saw me awarding people medals. Well, today is a day like that. A week ago, I gave awards to parents of soldiers who have been killed. There were 24 families of the dead. There was a woman, she was with 3 children. There were parents, very old, they could barely walk, and they had had only one son. One of the women was pregnant. She arrived holding a baby in her arms, and she was pregnant. And that baby will never see. What should I tell them? That all of them died so that we could say, it's okay, Russia, you can take it all.
It's
a difficult job. You understand me, right? Giving awards to people whose faces show their whole world has collapsed. And all I can give them is victory.
Well, it doesn't look like victory is going to be his. He's running out of manpower. The United States is running, and the West are running out of ammunition to give him, and he's running out of weather. Because in about 6 weeks, the Earth will be a muddy mess, and then it will be frozen, and his troops will be in no position to advance eastward. Have they advanced eastward? A little bit, a couple of villages here, a few hundred, maybe even a few thousand meters here and there, but nothing significant. They have not breached the first of the 3 Russian rings of defense, which are very, very sophisticated, heavy duty, built by construction companies, Russian construction companies, rings of defense. The construction companies built those rings essentially unmolested by Ukraine troops because they weren't organized enough to do anything about it. Is Crimea part of Russia or is it part of Ukraine? Well, the people speak Russian, the people are culturally Russian, and it has legally been a part of Russia on and off, as I said, since Catherine the Great, which is before the United States of America, before the 13 colonies seceded from Great Britain. What is clear, though, is that the Ukrainians claim that Crimea is part of Ukraine, that the Donbass is part of Ukraine. And what are they doing? They are shelling the civilians in the Donbass and in Crimea. The Ukrainian government killing people, it says, are Ukrainian. And of course, the Russians are doing their best to defend them. Here's another clip from the same interview with Scott Pelley. In this one, President Zelensky says, we're not just fighting for Ukrainian values, we're fighting for the world's values.
We're defending the values of the whole world, Zelensky said. And these are Ukrainian people who are paying the highest price. We are truly fighting for our freedom. We are dying. We're not fiction. We're not a book. We're fighting for real with a nuclear state that threatens to destroy the world.
Well, it is a nuclear state, and it hasn't threatened to destroy the world. I'm not defending every decision that President Putin makes, but Russia's a nuclear state. The United States is a nuclear state. The threat of using nuclear weapons usually causes people to dial back the rhetoric. But President Zelensky has not dialed back his rhetoric. Here's how he referred, I'll let the word come out of his mouth, and then I'll talk about it. Here's how he referred to President Putin as a second fill in the blank.
We can't change Putin. Russian society has lost the respect of the world. They elected him and re-elected him and raised a second Hitler. They did this. We cannot go back in time, but we can stop it here.
A second Hitler. That, of course, connotes all kinds of things. It is, of course, the Ukrainians who are neo-Nazis. Many of them have swastikas. Many of their soldiers have swastikas tattooed on their bodies. Some of them profess Nazi ideology, including hatred for the Jewish people. President Zelensky himself, of course, is Jewish. It's a bizarre concatenation for him to refer to President Putin as a second Hitler. Here he is again saying, we will move forward and we must move forward and we'll use anything we can. We'll use bombs, we'll use troops, we'll use drones, but we're not going to stop.
You have about 6 weeks of good weather left, and I wonder after that point, will the front be frozen in place? We need to liberate our territory as much as possible and move forward. Even if it's less than half a mile or 100 yards, we must do it. We can't lose time. Forget about the weather and the like. In places that we can't get through in an armored vehicle, let's fly. If we can't fly, let's send drones. We mustn't give Putin a break.
Well, this is rather naive for him to say, forget about the weather, because we all know that in that part of the country, weather is king, and it determines whether or not you, no pun intended, whether or not you can move forward. We are having some difficulty with Ray McGovern. I appreciate you listening to me. We'll get Ray back. We do have Phil Giraldi scheduled for 11 o'clock Eastern, and we've connected with him already, and it doesn't look like there'll be a problem with him, but we'll get Ray here with me for you before the day is out. When I woke up this morning, we had 199,945 subscriptions. We only need 55 more to break that threshold of 200,000. It may have happened already while I've been on air. I don't know. But help us spread the word. Tell a friend, tell a relative, tell a coworker what we do at Judging Freedom. We present another side of the world. Another side of the war. We are the go-to podcast in the world for the side of events which says it is wrong for the United States and wrong for the West to be involved in this war. It has extended the war needlessly. It has cost hundreds of thousands of lives and billions of Western dollars, and your grandchildren will be paying back those debts in higher taxes on interest on the loans that were taken to give money and material to Ukraine. Just Napolitano for Judging Freedom.